I finally quit my job. You know, I've been for the longest thinking about doing this, but it's been a very hard decision to make. And for me, I'm 23, so I just graduated college about a year ago. And while I was in college, I had a part-time job for a little bit in the beginning, and then I decided to quit and just fully focus on studying. And for me, I thought that was the better decision to make. I didn't really need the money because I was getting paid through scholarships, and so I was able to fund my living, which wasn't very expensive. I live pretty frugally, mostly speaking. Or no, I definitely am very. I'm a very frugal person, and so I didn't need the job, and I didn't really see the point in it. And then I graduated college, and I still wasn't really sure on what I wanted to do with my life and what direction I wanted to go. And you know, one thing I was always, I guess, hesitant about was work taking my life away, taking my energy and my time, the things that are priceless in life. I was concerned about work doing that, and really, I want to say like a year after. I mean, I tried like little jobs here and there. But then about I want to say like 6 months ago, I got a job opportunity, which I'm very thankful for and very blessed. I was definitely meant to have that experience of this job, um, and you know I needed the money at the time. Well, not need as in like yeah, I needed the money to for my expenses and stuff. I had no income. And so, I decided to take it. Why not? It was just a, receptionist job, nothing crazy. And the hours were like part time. But, recently I've been uploading a lot on YouTube. And, you know, I've been really wanting to pursue this YouTube thing and just be more consistent. But when I get into when I'm in the flow of things, uploading videos, coming up with ideas to talk about, doing the shorts, and then I have to go to work. And then it's sort of like, okay, I build momentum and then work. I build momentum and then work. And long story short, I basically came to the realization that, you know, a job working is basically an exchange of, a certain amount of money for your time, your energy, your life. You're deciding to just give up your life completely and you're allowing yourself to be used by whoever is in charge and whoever's paying you just for the job, unless you're one of those few people that actually finds their job fulfilling and it doesn't feel like you're being controlled. It's more like this is something that you genuinely want to do deep down. I'm sure there are people out there that have a fulfilling job in that way, you know what I mean? um, Even though they may not be like an entrepreneur or their own boss, but they just like what they do, so they don't really mind having a boss on top of them and being there at a certain time and getting paid a certain amount because they truly enjoy what they're doing. But I would say most people are not like that. Most people despise work, and most people are making that exchange of giving their money. I'm sorry, giving their life away for money. And personally, I think this is a terrible exchange because your life is priceless. Your life is priceless. Your time, your energy is priceless. And so, for this priceless thing, you're exchanging it for a certain amount of money. Uh, to me, that doesn't make any sense at all. And I sort of, I came to this realization, and I've kind of known that for a little bit, but recently it really became clear to me after I tried some psilocybin. And yeah, once you kind of see that insight from psilocybin, you can't really go back. You can't really go back. Um, ever since that trip, I went to work and I just felt. I mean, I was already thinking about. I was already trying to leave the job in the first place, but then after I had that clarity, I was like, man, like, what am I doing? I'm giving my life away. Like people think that, oh, you work a certain amount and then you live a life, outside of work, and then it makes up for that time in work. But really, you spend more time at work than you do in your outer life. They suck up and drain all your energy, so that by the time you get out of work, you're not really living your life because you've been drained already. And when you calculate, commute, chores, eating, showering, all these different things, um, really there's very little time for what you genuinely want to do. And so I realized this just with more clarity recently. And yeah, it was a tough decision to make, but ultimately, I've reached the point where it's like, all right, like I'm done, uh, just conforming just because everyone says so. I'm done being scared. Um, I'm done giving my soul away for just a certain amount of money. Done giving my life away for just a certain amount of money. Um, I'm not gonna let that happen to me. And so, yeah, now we're here, and I mean, this is sort of, I would like to say, a leap of faith. There really is. I mean, I think you can reason that it's you can reason it and you can tell that they are controlling you. They are using your mind and your body and your spirit, just for their own intentions. And when I say they, I mean people who, you know, are CEOs or bosses, where they just want to use you as a worker, and they don't really care about your well being, or they don't really want the best for you. They just need their business to keep running. And, and yeah, so you can reason that. But, you know, me quitting this job is just sort of like, I don't really know what I'm going to do, but I know that's not the right thing. I know that's not the right thing for me, and that's how I feel, and nobody can tell me otherwise, and nobody can tell you otherwise if that's how you feel. And at the end of the day, this is a leap of faith, and I fully trust in God, and God is gonna be with me in every step of the way. And to be honest, I'm very excited because I just can't. For me, I just have been losing my mind, just doing the same routine over and over again as something that doesn't really fulfill me. I mean, of course, I'm gonna lose my mind. It's like you're putting a dog in a cage, and that dog is meant to run and be free. It's like, well, no, duh, no wonder the dog's gonna be depressed or something and is down and is not happy and is angry and you know fights with the owner and all these things. It's not meant to be that way. It's not our natural way of being. And I'm done conforming and just accepting to that, just because that's the way things are. And I rather take a leap of faith and have any other change in my life, and just absolutely any other change in my life, than just doing the same thing over and over and over again and being secure. Fuck that. I rather have an adventure, and let's see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen, but something that is exciting, something that I can find meaningful. Um, Not staying stuck in one place. Being free to go wherever it is. I want to go. Sure, it's not. You can. Obviously, there's no security or stability, but that's why I said it's a leap of faith, because ultimately I trust in God, and I know I'm secure with God. So yeah, man, it was a very tough decision, but I think um, it had to be done. and I'm just looking forward, honestly, to life, just because I there's so many things I want to do, and especially with this channel, I hopefully the idea is to be more consistent, and use this recent time I got to be more consistent on the channel, because there's a lot of things I want to cover, a lot of things I want to talk about, um, and I think we have to. I mean, I guess my intention with this channel, at the end of the day, is to connect and hope, you know, to ultimately connect, share my ideas, express myself, whatever is going on in my mind. Um, but one big thing for me also is to wake people up, and that's gonna be hard, But uh, I think I have to, be about it basically, and do that first in my own life, and stick up to what I believe is right. Because I could say it on the camera, but then if I'm not living it, then those words mean absolutely nothing. But you know, now that I've basically fully committed, and basically letting go of everything, and putting my full trust in God, uh, I can really stand for what I'm saying, and each of my words will mean something, because I'm living it. So yeah, man, this is a very exciting time. A little, you could. I guess I'm a little scared, but not really. I would say more excited and nervous, but scared. I mean, not really. I mean, yeah, I'm willing to die for what I believe in, and what I stand for. And something I was telling my friend yesterday, because I was telling him about the decision I made, and you know, for me, it's like I'm going against the culture. I'm like a counterculture type of person. And I mean, shit, look at our culture now. Look at the norms we have. It's in a terrible place right now. And you know, it's better to go against the culture and not just stick to the norms, especially when the norms are trash, right? I mean, I've always thought that you know you should stick to your values no matter what, even what the culture is, you know, even if the culture is like telling you a certain thing, you got to stick to your true self no matter what. Um, but let's say the culture had actually some pretty good norms, and things were morally in a good place, then maybe you can argue that. But I would still, even in that situation, go and stick to your true self. But now, especially in this culture, the one we're in the place we're in right now as a society, nah, I think we have to go against the culture. We have to go against the norms if we want things to genuinely change. And at the end of the day, I believe there needs to be a lot of change done. And so, and I pray, and I hope that people wake up to the mental slavery that's going on. Which I'll make more videos that about this topic. Um, but that was a part of the clarity that I had, was seeing how obvious the mental slavery. I've put this video. I've said this before, but XXX had a interview clip where he says the slavery isn't physical anymore; it's mental. And you know, again, the more time goes on, the more I see how true it is, and that was the clarity, a part of the clarity I had, in my realization. And it's like, man, I'm not gonna be a slave anymore. And so I pray and I hope that we get out of this slavery, and this mental slavery, this mind control, this brain programming that they've been doing our entire lives, through the school institution, through the news, through businesses, advertisements, social media. I mean, they've been doing it without technology, but now with technology, it's the brain programming is crazy. And so I pray and hope that I'm one of the first few people that, make this hard choice and start to break free of the chains. And, that way we can actually go back to our roots, our true way of being, instead of being mind controlled from the people on top and blindly following customs and norms just because everyone says so. When all the customs and norms right now are leading us down the wrong path. They are being led by demonic people who eat, rape, and torture kids, children. These are the people that are mind programming and leading the masses. So, and again, I realized this and I said I have enough. I rather die. I rather lose absolutely everything in my life than you know s- live in a society where what gets you to the top. That's the norm. Those are the people governing us. No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that anymore. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm very excited. I really don't know where my life is going to go, but that's the beauty of it. Back then it was, when you have a job, it's secure, you know where you are, and that's could be a good thing for some. That may be for some people, but that's not for me. It's not for me. I'm not. I'm just not someone like that's not in my nature to be someone like that. And for a while I've been fighting my own nature, but now I'm just accepting who I am more and more. And so this was one of the decisions I had to make, and um, yeah, man, we'll see where things go. But I'm very excited to, like I said, be consistent on this channel. And so stay tuned for the content I'll be pumping out. I'll be trying to make it better. It's a lot of work, but this is work that I find meaningful, and I think needs to be heard. Um, and I appreciate the genuine connection that I have when people write comments, or when I feel like when people subscribe, and it makes me feel seen, like I belong, like I have some sort of value. And so, I'm just listening to my intuition and my gut and going with what I believe is the right way, even if that goes against absolutely everything. Um, Gotta stay true to yourself. So, anyways, I just want to share this. Um, and yeah, I finally quit my job. It's been, I don't even know if I said that earlier, but whatever. I finally quit my job, and I'm very excited. And we're gonna go crazy now. Uh, yeah, the world's changing. A lot of shifts are happening, and we're in a beautiful place. I just feel so blessed and honored to be alive, and hopefully I can, you know, hopefully I could just be a great person while I'm here, and do something with my life, with this life. So yeah, I'm praying for all you guys, praying for the people in Iran, praying for the victims for the Epstein files, praying for everybody in the world. Um, Guys, stay blessed, stay at peace, spread love, peace, and joy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.